Hey guys, it's Devin, and today we're going to be talking about drugstore makeup. Over my years of appreciating makeup and buying and using a lot of makeup, I have accumulated some favorites. I kind of know my way around, and I get a lot of questions just from like friends and family asking what products I recommend, or like, you know, what lipsticks or what foundations, or like what's this, what's that. So I decided to go ahead and make a big video talking about all of my favorite products from the drugstore and why they are my favorites. Just a side note, this is the stuff that works for me. I have typically like combo skin. I have some dry patches, I have some oily patches. I prefer matte finishes in almost everything. So if that doesn't really match with what you like, I'm sorry, I can't be of more help to you. I will also have product shots, prices, and swatches of most of the products as I talk about them. So hopefully you can actually get an idea of how they actually work. And this is going to be split up into two videos. This is going to be all about face makeup and everything in regards to a base. And then I'm going to have another video that is about eyes and lips. Also, every product is going to be mentioned down below, so let's just get started. So my favorite concealer from the drugstore is the Maybelline True Match Concealer. I'm the shade Light Neutral, Fair Light Neutral one, the lightest neutral one. It's really easy to work with, it has a really nice coverage, and it's not super thick. It has a brush tip, which is something that doesn't really matter, but for some reason it just brings me joy. They also have warm, cool, and neutral tones, but they only have a few shades of each one. So it is kind of a limited shade range, but if they have one that works for you, whether it's like the exact match of your skin like this one is for me, or if it's something to highlight with, like a brighter one, I would definitely recommend picking this up. Alright, I have two foundations to talk about. The first one is the L'Oreal True Match Foundation, and this is a pretty medium coverage, I would say, but it is buildable. It doesn't cake up too bad. Of course, if you start layering it on and on, any product is going to cake. I usually use like 1.5 layers of this typically, like I do one full layer, and then I kind of add a little bit more where I need extra coverage, and that usually works for me. It does have SPF in it, which is also really nice, and it does also have the neutral, warm, and cool undertone options. It does have a pretty wide shade range. For people that are fairer than me, there's probably not a ton of options because I'm in one, so I'm the lightest neutral. But there is a pretty decent shade range. The other foundation is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation, and this stuff is the best. This is a matte, really like nice medium to full-ish coverage foundation that like stays put. This stuff lasts long. You put it on and it's going to stay there until you take it off. And the only reason why I don't currently use it is because they don't have a shade that matches me right now. This is the second lightest shade, and it's a little bit too dark for me, and the lightest shade is a little too light for me, so I could definitely mix them if I wanted to. I just haven't had the chance to pick up the lighter one, and also like I don't know if I'm down for mixing a foundation for myself every day, you know, like that's a lot of effort. And it's really good for oily skin. So if you have really oily skin and you want something that is matte to make your oily skin not oily. My BB cream of choice is the Maybelline Dream Pure BB cream. This has salicylic acid in it, so if you have super sensitive skin or you think that that might like tamper with your skin or whatever, just keep that in mind. I don't really care that it has like the acne treatment in it. I don't feel like it really does anything for me, especially because I don't use this on a daily basis. But also the only reason why I prefer this one over the normal one, which is the Dream Fresh BB cream, is because this is a more matte finish. So a BB cream is just going to give you like a light tint to your skin. It's not going to give you a ton of coverage. That's not what it's for. If you are having one of those days where you just want to put something really light on your face, or you're not going to be wearing a ton of other makeup, this is definitely a product that I like. For contouring, I have two products. So the first product is the NYX HD Blush in Taupe. It looks pretty dark and pretty scary in the pan, but honestly it works great as a contouring shade. It's pigmented, but it's not too pigmented where like you run the risk of like barely touching your brush into it and then having like a brown streak on your face. It's pretty buildable, it's really easy to use, it's a soft powder, and I definitely like this one a lot. The other contouring product that I like to use is the Wet n Wild contouring palette. This is in the shade Caramel Toffee. They also have another one that has a more yellow toned highlight in a darker, more chocolate brown contour shade. Sometimes it can feel like it leans a little bit too like pink, which kind of sounds weird because it doesn't really look pink, but when you put it right next to the NYX, you can tell that it is definitely less gray than the NYX, so I tend to mix these together just to kind of get exactly the look that I want, but I will use them both alone. This one is also super blendable. It's got a good pigmentation where, you know, you're not going to run the risk of, you know, putting the brown line on your face. Same thing with the next one. So both of these are really great. Speaking of the Wet n Wild contouring palette, if you want a matte highlight and you are a similar skin tone to me, or you think the other one would work for you, I'll put a picture of the other one here so you can like get the idea. This is a really great pigmented highlighting powder. There haven't been a ton of face powders I've found in the store that have actually pigmented enough to actually use as a matte highlight. This is really good pigmentation. I like to use this to bake with. I don't really bake correctly. I don't use loose powder. I basically just like to like cake a lot of this powder under my eyes and like over here, and then just, you know, let it work its magic and then brush away the excess. So I definitely love this powder. Also, in terms of highlights, I have two more to talk about, but these are shimmery. The first is a Wet n Wild Fergie highlighter, and if you look in the pan, you can see that it has a lot of champagne and then a lot of rosier tones in it as well, and it's kind of like a marbled baked effect. And when you swirl it together and you apply it, it's just a really nice, slightly pink, shimmery highlight. It's also super affordable, and you can also build it up to get a more intense highlight, which is also something that I really enjoy in a product. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking this up. If you want to get super intense with your highlight, get this one. This is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi liquid highlighter. This is the shade Ice. They have two more, but they don't really seem like they're light enough to actually be a highlight on most, you know, medium to light skin tones. I did do a first impression on this. I will link that down below in case you're interested in watching this. This is super intense and it dries quickly. So if you're like a super beginner and you like just pick this up and you're about to run out the door and you're like, I want to highlight, don't put this on, because there's a little bit of a learning curve to learn how to use this. You have to like work on one side and like blend it out and make sure it's blended out really nicely, and then you can work on the other side. You know, it's a great product, but you can't expect to pick it up and know exactly how to use it and it's gonna be like perfect, because that's just not how it works with this product. I'm wearing it today under a powder, which is how I like to get super intense highlights. I pair this with a powder, and so yeah, you can see that that reflection. See the tip of my nose looking oily? It's not oily. Alright, so on to blushes. The Milani baked blushes in general are great, but this particular shade is called Luminoso, and it is magnificent. If you watch other beauty YouTubers, you've probably heard of this product because it's like a cult favorite. It's just a really beautiful shimmery peach that just gives like a really nice, healthy glow to the skin. That's basically all I have to say. It's a great blush. End of story. The other one is a Wet n Wild Fergie blush, and this is Brush with Destiny, and this is the only Fergie blush I've ever tried, but it is really nice. I've also heard really good things about Wet n Wild's normal blushes, but I've never actually tried any. But this is just a really beautiful light peach that has a lot of golden shimmer in it, and it's just a really good like everyday blush that's basically gonna go with anything. Alright, so setting the face, I have three products I'm going to talk about. We'll start with the most boring one. The Rimmel Stay Matte Powder is a really great mattifying pressed powder. They have a few different shades. It doesn't really have much actual pigment on your skin. It's basically just there to mattify your face. It's also nice if you don't want to like cake on more pigment and you literally just need to get rid of shine. Yeah. The second setting powder is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer. And this looks really light, and it looks like maybe it would be like a highlight or something, but it actually just gives a really nice luminosity to the skin when you apply it all over. It's super sheer, so even if you're really dark or really pale, it's not actually going to give much color. It's just going to kind of give off a really nice sheen that makes you look really healthy and kind of gives you like this natural glow. If you've heard of the Hourglass ambient lighting powders, this is supposed to do something similar to that, but I've never tried those because those are way too expensive. The last setting product is the NYX Matte Finish Setting Spray. Like I said, your girl likes to be matte, and I usually just finish off my makeup with this every day just because, you know, it's supposed to make your makeup last longer, and if there's one thing I need in this world, it's for my makeup to last longer. I only have 2 brow products to talk about. The first one is the NYX TAME Frame Tinted Brow Pomade. This is supposed to be a similar product to the Anastasia Dip Brow, if you're familiar with that. It is pretty sheer, but it is buildable, and the only reason why I have stopped using this lately, not that you guys would know that, I don't even know why I mentioned that, but I just wanted to mention that this is the shade Brunette, and it shows up too red on my face, which is really weird because in the thing it looks completely brown. It's brown. And then I put it in my eyebrows and I feel like it just has like a bunch of like really red auburn undertones that somehow my face pulls out of it maybe. I've been avoiding it, but it does last pretty long and it's really easy to use, so I definitely recommend this product. And then over top of that, I typically use my tinted brow mascara from NYX. This is the shade Espresso because I got brown eyebrows, and this does not seal your eyebrows in place. It's not gonna waterproof them, you know, but also it doesn't flake. I've never had any issues with my eyebrows smearing while using it or anything like that. So it's not like a sealer. It's not gonna like you can't go swimming. I mean, you might be able to go swimming. I've never tried it, but I'm assuming that you can't go swimming in this, but I mean, it's November. Why would you want to? And it also has a teeny tiny little spoolie, which is just wonderful. Alright, so that is everything, you guys. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. If you like this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There's a link to do so on the screen, as well as links to all of my social media, and that is also down below. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.